Hello everybody, my name is Benji, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere program. Last time, we established interplanetary automation. We have lovely crystal silica, microcrystalline components, processors, silica, titanium, all of the really good stuff coming back and forth between this planet and our planet number 2, way out in the sticks over here. And it's really nice to have this fully automated and ready to go. However, we're running out of power. And what little power we do have on this planet is running out of coal with which to fuel it. Which means that today's big goal is going to be one of power expansion in one of the best ways that I know how. And that is through the Dyson Swarm. The Dyson Swarm allows for us to create a orbit that we launch solar sails into, and said solar sails will be able to give us power. Solar sails, of course, are launched by the EM rail ejector. Power from the sails are brought back from the ray receiver, and you can see these both require silica in some respect. This one requires silica and processors, this one requires processors in order to actually function. And of course, they also need solar sails in order to be built. Solar sails, luckily, get built in just the machines, so we don't really have to worry about much. Now, where the heck did I place that planetary logistics station I was standing in front of? That is going to be the big ticket item for today, and we're going to start that over here. In terms of how many solar sails I want per second, well, it's a 1-to-1 it's a 1-to-2 in terms of graphene, or graphite. No, graphene, I was right. Graphene and photon combiners, of which I don't think I have... It's 6 per second. Okay, cool. So 6 per second, that's super awesome. We can design it with 6 per second in mind, 3 per second on the top and bottom. Of course, we've seen this process before, so I'm not really going to take us through the whole process, but I do want to talk a little bit about orbits and orbital mechanics in general. So we, of course, are on a satellite planet. You can see here it says Maritera satellite. I don't know what the Maritera part means, but we are a satellite, which means we have a home planet, which is orbiting the star directly, and then we are orbiting the planet that orbits the star. Now, lucky for us, our orbit is only ever so slightly skewed in terms of relation to the sun, so we don't really have to consider that. That's kind of negligible. So the only thing that we need to really take a look at here is our home planet, number 3, the gas giant, and take a look at its orbit inclination. It's basically in the plane. It's equatorial because it's got 0 degrees of inclination, basically. And then the longitude of the ascending node is 55 degrees, give or take. And the longitude of ascending node is, if you look at the plane here, this being the horizontal plane, the longitude of ascending node is basically where we are right now. If this is the plane, then the longitude of the ascending node is right here, relative to some other aspect of the star itself. My hypothesis is that if we match the longitude of the ascending node with our current planet to the longitude of the ascending node here, and then raise the inclination so that we have a full range of opportunities for us to actually shoot into the orbit here, then we will have a orbit precession the same as our satellite's home planet, which is this guy. And if my hypothesis is correct, this will be a very optimal orbit for us to shoot solar sails toward the sun using. And then, of course, as well, if we take a look at everything else, our poles are probably one of the best places to put them, because they will end up constantly in view of the actual sun and the orbit of which we are shooting. So we're going to end up putting all of our solar sails up here on this pole. and we'll have a planetary logistics station here at the actual top of the planet in order to bring in all of the sails and then select them for the EM rail ejector and shoot off to the sun. So, all of that long-winded, slight orbital mechanics talk aside, I'm going to build up something that will end up making us 12 solar sails per second, and then I will also end up building us some EM rail ejectors over on the side, and we will see just how good that ends up being for us in terms of power. And then, of course, in terms of what is the best location, usually I end up picking the equator to have the actual ray receivers, and we'll get into the mechanics of the ray receivers and everything else momentarily. So I'm going to build this real quick, build the solar sail EM rail ejectors, and then come back and see whether or not my hypothesis is correct. See you soon. And with that, we do have solar sails online. We are at 50% capacity in terms of our power grid, which is honestly not great. It also looks like I apparently missed a connector in terms of these guys, so that's nice. There we go. Now we have a connector, and you can see the power symbol flashing as we hit beneath 50%. And that would be because of this. That's just great, isn't it? But we're about to see if this actually even works at all. What's the matter here? Pitch limit. What's the issue with the pitch limit? You can kind of see where they're trying to aim at the moment. Looks like they're aiming this way. Assuming they need a tighter radius. No, they're just too far pitched down. Which I find interesting. What happens if I go into edit longitude of ascending node to 90 degrees farther? 5 degrees. Firing now. No. Okay. How about if I convert that back 55 degrees? This to 90 degrees. What happened? Well, they changed. They are still pitch limited. However, the pitch limit is going up instead of down. What happens if I increase radius 15,000? Too close to planet orbit. Alright. 1,200. Oh, there's one. One of them is firing. Looks like he's firing way farther up than I was expecting him. Whoa, they are firing way farther up than I was expecting them. Holy cow. World? What's your pitch angle right now? Your yaws are fine, because yaw is side to side. Yeah, so now that's working. And for each sail, it looks like we are, in fact, increasing our threat to the dark fog. Which perfect sense, and I would honestly expect nothing less. So I'm not upset about that at all. I have now found the equator here. This is the equator. Wow, yeah, no, we are very much suffering in terms of our power grid. Let me go on ahead and place down one of these guys and we can see some information. There's the ray receiver, and of course we want power generation. So the grid load is our actual power grid. The strength is 100%. We are currently having a max output of 6.01 megawatts with a ray receiving efficiency of 30%. The requested power is going down because I'm losing sunlight, so I'm actually going to go place one of these over here somewhere. Still along the equator, but somewhere that I actually have sunshine, because sunshine is super important. You can see it's requesting 20 megawatts. It can only get a maximum of 1.4 megawatts because of the fact that our sufficiency is super duper awful. We are requesting power of 20 megawatts. We are currently generating 6 megawatts, and the dark fog hive is like amount of those megawatts. To me, of course, they're going to be siphoning our energy from us because they're big fat meanie pants. I have a whole ton of these guys, so I'm just going to place down a whole ton of them as we go along the equator here, and hopefully that will start to supplement my power grid ever so barely, because right now I have no power. I can't do anything about it. Yeah, obviously the threat of the hive is going to start going up, but we have a long time before I feel like we actually have to legitimately worry about it. And if we look at the star, you can see the beginnings of our swarm. Yay! Oh, I love seeing the beginnings of the swarm. We will, over time, be able to have more and more of that swarm, and more of that swarm will be to us, but for right now, this is just kind of what we're going to have to be. I'm going to pause the research queue just to try to have our... great. Just to try to have our overall power generation sort of stabilize a little bit if we can. And whatever ends up happening in regards to that will end up happening. So while we're waiting on our secondary planet base to fall under attack by our level 1 base level, which is kind of interesting. See that's a thing. We will go on ahead and take a look at the research tree. So of course we're going to be working with all of this kind of stuff: the ray transmission efficiency, the solar sail life. Because right now our solar sail life is not great. I don't really see it. We can't do any further upgrades above here just because of the fact that it's all purple science. We are upgrading our carrier engines and carrier capacity. That way we have to send less drones, which means less power and less time between everything. And then we'll also end up doing combat drone stuff, enhanced structure kind of stuff, all that good stuff. We're getting attacked. That's perfectly fine. But then in terms of our actual technologies, of course, we're going to go for interstellar power transition, which gets us the energy exchangers. And with the energy exchangers, we can get gas giant exploitation, which will allow for us to harvest hydrogen directly, hydrogen and fire ice, I believe, directly from the gas giant that we are orbiting, our overall our overall planet that we are a satellite of. And then we'll probably end up going into the purple science things next, because purple science is where? Not the gravity matrix, the information matrix. Purple science requires processors. You heard that right, processors. And this other thing, which is called the particle broadband, which requires the silica crystals. Yep, silica crystals for those, as well as these carbon nanotubes. Carbon nanotubes aren't terrible, they're just a lot of graphene and titanium, and that's like a whole thing. So we'll end up doing those, and then getting the particle broadbands, and then getting the purple science. And then with the purple science, we have a whole lot of other options at our disposal in yellow science, like strange matter, deuterium processing, fusion power generation with deuterium fuel rods. You guessed it, deuterium to make deuterium fuel rods, but that's really expensive. And then, of course, we also are going to eventually want the satellite substation, satellite power distribution system, because it's a much better power distribution system. And then with the purple science, we can also get into the space combat, which is something that I really want to do. So that kind of is the next big thing that I want to start rushing, is purple science. After gas giant exploitation, and after all of the tech upgrades that we can fit here. Which it looks like that is probably the last of these. And then we'll need some more distribution range. And then we'll probably go into the mission efficient. And then we'll go down into the vein utilization. And all the other stuff. Probably not research. I don't think I need research speed up. Research speed at the moment. Yeah, our demand is 400 and our capacity is 200 because we are severely lacking in terms of just about everything. So as soon as we possibly can, I absolutely love have more of these EM rail ejectors online and more power. So I'm just kind of going to continue expanding this ever so slowly as I can. And I really wish they made sound, because like the Gauss turrets and everything make sound. I really wish these things made sound, but they don't, and I'm kind of sad about it. Yeah, that threat is going up faster than I would like it to. Also, I thought that the ascending node currently matches? Yeah, the longitude of ascending node currently matches. I guess because of the fact that the radius is different, the precession of the ascending node is different, but that's okay overall. High inclination is better than anything else. That's kind of the bottom line when you're dealing with stuff like this, and having a higher inclination allows us to see more of the orbit at any given time. You can see now, actually, the pitch... Oh no, the path is blocked. The path is blocked because we're behind the ice giant. Duh. Fire ice will be really nice to have, and you'll see why eventually. But for now, yeah, I'm just going to keep expanding things, and we will see what happens as that continues. Of course, we are just suffering in terms of power, so I'll see what I can do about that. And I'll see you guys when I have more to talk about. Look upon our empire with glory! So I did some research. Turns out I was wrong. Polar EM rail ejector setups are not optimal. The optimal range for EM rail ejectors is, in fact, between 60 and 80 degrees. Which is what we have ended up doing here. This is the belt right between 60, I think is down here, or I guess, okay, 55. And then the other belt up here is 65. So we are just properly on the edge of that. And we are consuming quite a bit of these guys over time, which is totally cool with me. I'll have to wait until we rotate back around and we can see all of these guys in action. I have no idea how many they are. And then I also went along the equator, and I just kind of equally spaced these guys. You can see that our overall contribution is not quite up to 100%, and you can see that the dark fog hive is taking a bit more than initially it was, which I think is what percentage here? So we're at 216. It's like 0.5%, give or take, because 1% is like 2 megawatts, 2.16 megawatts. So it's like a little over a percent, which is totally fine. I'm not really super concerned about the fact that they're taking up that much of our resource. However, we are gaining threat a little bit faster than I had initially planned for us to be gaining threat. So next episode, we're going to be focusing on some planetary defense mechanisms, as well as probably expanding some of our production lines. Ooh, light oil is a problem? Why is light oil a problem? Oh my gosh. Wait, why is light oil a problem? Didn't I have a whole bunch of light oil stashed from the old base? I'm pretty sure I did. That kind of points to us needing to get started on deuterium fractionation. Because deuterium is something that will consume hydrogen. Let me actually open up the research menu and pause it here. Because none of this requires hydrogen, but it all does require oil, which is just a whole mess. Proliferator 3 requires carbon nanotubes. None of this stuff all requires hydrogen. The fire ice actually produces hydrogen and graphene, which is a whole problem. What do you take? Nothing that requires hydrogen. Uh-oh. Casimir crystals, not gonna be any of that. Casimir explosive units, yeah, no, that's not a thing that we need. Supersonic missile set, not a thing that we need. Crystal shell set, not a thing that we need. Plasma turret takes deuterium for the plasma capsules, but that's all the way up at the purple science, which is a whole mess. Oh man. Yeah, no, I guess we're gonna do deuterium fuel rods and stop doing our oil things. It's kind of the best idea that I've got here. And we'll deal with all that next time, I guess, because we don't really have any other choice. We really need to make sure that our light oil is able to flow. And there is an alternate recipe that I could technically do for that. Where's it at here? This. I could take the hydrogen and everything, combine it with coal to get more light oil, but I don't think I want to do that at this stage in the game, because at this stage in the game, we do in fact need hydrogen. So I think right now I'm just going to put a band-aid on the gunshot wound, and max vertical height reached. Seriously? Already? I thought I had more. Alright, well, shoot, let me just grab that then and just kind of stick it here. Yeah, we'll just kind of stick it there, because this is a net positive in terms of hydrogen for jump-starting the process. So yeah, that's literally just going to be putting a band-aid on the gunshot wound. And then we'll get into deuterium stuff next time. We'll get into planetary defense stuff next time as well. And then, like I said, purple science is coming soon, and purple science will definitely help for the plasma turret, because the plasma turret will... Oh, it's titanium. Oh, that's rough. Will enable us to use the deuterium, which we get from hydrogen, and that'll all be fine. And in terms of where the heck we're going to put deuterium fractionation, because it requires a pretty decent amount of space, I think we'll do it down here by the iron mines. Yeah, we'll do it here by the iron mines. So yeah, that's going to be it for today. So thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. But without further ado, adios, sayonara, au revoir, hasta la vista, das vidania, wiedersehen, ciao, and goodbye. Please have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Get some sleep if you need to. Don't forget to stay hydrated. Oh, we're getting blocked by the gas giant. And get some sleep if you need to. Don't forget to stay hydrated. This video is in the bag. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, y'all.